Hello everybody, this is Allison Kleinman coming to you live from the business page for A&A Adler Insurance, LLC. And today we're going to talk about something super important. First of all, happy Halloween. Halloween also means it is the day before open enrollment for people under 65. So that's the time of year that you can get marketplace insurance plans. So in honor of that, I thought we'd do something really important, and that's the top 5 things that you need to consider when purchasing a health plan. So people don't usually know what they should be looking for. They ask me all sorts of weird questions. They don't know what to ask. They don't know what they should be concerned about. The summary sheets, there's a lot of information on the summary sheets, and people, after I go over plans, they start, looking for the weaknesses, the blind spots. They're like, what happens if I need gastric bypass surgery? And I ask, okay, well, is that something that you're looking to get done? Oh, no, I'm 110 pounds, but what if I needed it? And that's not always the best way to go about things, because what ends up happening is you choose a health plan based on, looking for blind spots instead of what you actually need. And that's really the key thing here, is when you're considering a plan, you need to consider not what's the best plan out there, because there really isn't a best plan. There's a best plan for you. So if you're super confused, go with these 5 things, and at the very least you'll have either only a couple options to choose from or in a really good place to start. So let's get to it. Number 1 thing that you need to be considering, and this might be a no-brainer, but it's really important, and that is your monthly plan premium, the dollar amount that you need to pay every month. This needs to be a number that you can afford, that you're going to be able to pay, because if you can't pay the premium, you're going to lose your plan. So it might be nice to have that Cadillac plan with everything on it and super low copays and super low deductible and everything is covered, but if you're not going to be able to pay your premium every month, it's not going to work. So first thing you need to do is just look at your budget. What can I afford to spend every month? And go from there. Narrow down this plan, this plan, this plan, this plan, this plan. Great. Okay. Second thing we need to consider is the plan's deductible. Now, as I've talked about in a previous live, there are some things that, some plans cover certain things before the deductible, some after, but generally your deductible, and as a subcategory, your max out of pocket, is the total possible amount that you could spend over the course of the plan year. So that needs to be a number that if you were to pay it, that it wouldn't force you into bankruptcy, it wouldn't break the bank. And that might drive your premium prices up a little bit. Now, the question is, well, what happens if my monthly premium that I can afford doesn't match, the deductible amount that I can afford? What if I can't afford a low enough deductible that it wouldn't break the bank for me? Well, in that case, there are other supplemental things that can help, reduce your risk in the case of a deductible that might cost less. And that's something that we can talk about on another live, or you can feel free to leave a comment, message me privately, and I'm happy to go over that stuff with you. But number 3, we're going to move on. Number 3 is plan network. Make sure that your doctors are in the network. If it's super, or furthermore, just decide whether or not keeping your current doctors is the thing that's the most important thing for you. If you don't care, which doctors you see, then that's not going to be a big factor for you. Then you're just going to want to make sure that the hospitals nearby you are in your plan's network. But if you have doctors that are really important to you and that's, you have to go see them, then make sure you do a doctor lookup of every single doctor. That's going to be really important for you. And furthermore, what I said about hospitals, make sure that the hospitals nearby, that if something were to happen, you need to go, that they're in the plan's network. All of the plans have a network lookup, or if you're working with a broker or an agent, they can look up doctors and plans for you and check if they're in network. And furthermore, whether or not your plan has in and out of network benefits, but you're generally going to want to just stay in network, so figure it out. All right, number 4 is prescription coverage. Now, I'm not saying that you need a plan with prescription coverage. There are plans that don't have prescription coverage, but now with things like all of the discount cards, you have GoodRx, which is an amazing thing, manufacturers coupons. If you only take a couple generic medications, it might not be worth it for you to have your plan premium increase because you have super duper prescription coverage. So the question is, what prescriptions do I take? Do I need a plan with really great prescription coverage? Do I want a little bit of prescription coverage? And then just make sure you understand whether or not your plan has it, whether you have to meet a certain deductible or your plan's deductible before prescriptions are covered, and then when they're how much it's going to be, what the copay is, based on your medications or your health history if you happen to have to get a lot of medications throughout the year. It's not a perfect science, but you need to figure, there because it's about risk, there is some guesswork involved. So that's a big way to mitigate costs if that's something that is a factor for you. And lastly, number 5, but this is in no particular order, these are super important, is your limitations and exclusions. All health insurance plans have limitations and exclusions. Your marketplace plans tend to have standard ones. Some of your private plans or your health ministry plans, they're going to have a different list, but that list is available. And so whenever you're looking at a plan, that nobody likes to read the fine print, but read the fine print. I promise you, it matters. For instance, you might be a super duper healthy, let's say 50-year-old. And you don't really go to the doctor much. You have a couple things, but you've been noticing some, pain in your knee, and you frequently get cortisone shots, and a replacement might be something on the line. Well, you might be really interested in a 1 or 3 year long short-term medical plan. However, if you look at the limitations and exclusions, you're going to see that most of those plans are not going to be covering that knee replacement. It doesn't make it a bad plan. It just makes it not the right plan for you. Or you need to tell yourself, well, as long as I'm on this plan, I'm not going to have a knee replacement. So, it's not about what's good and what's bad. It's about understanding what these things are and making the best possible choice for you with your health history and with what you are foreseeing over the next year. So just a quick recap. Number 1 is plan premium. If you can't afford the premium, you can't have the plan. Number 2 is deductible and max out of pocket. These should be a number that would not break the bank if something crazy happened and you had to spend it. Number 3 is network. Figure out if network is important to you, and if it is, are your doctors in network? And for everybody, are the hospitals nearby you in network? Number 4 is prescriptions. Do I really need a prescription plan, and how intense a prescription plan do I need? And number 5 is limitations and exclusions. Read the fine print. Make sure that if there's a limitation in your plan, that, it's something that you can do without, that it's something that you're okay with. Or at the very least, if plan premium really is a factor and it's maybe the best plan that you can afford right now, that at least At least you understand that if this were to happen, I know that my insurance isn't going to cover it, so what am I going to do from there? So those are the 5 things that you need to consider when you're purchasing a health plan. If you look at those 5 things, you are going to have a much easier time making your decision, because there's not going to be a billion plans available for you to look at. If you need help with that, even further, like I said, feel free to leave a comment, send us a message. Andrew and I are always happy to help you look at your options and kind of help you narrow down results. And furthermore, I hope everybody has an insanely happy and safe Halloween, happy open enrollment, and tune back in soon for more important information from A&A Adler Insurance, LLC. Bye-bye.